Success is like a garden. It requires constant care. It requires attention. It requires effort. If you rest too long, if you stop nurturing, then the weeds will take your garden. They don't ask for permission. They just grow. They spread. And before you know it, what you worked so hard to build is lost beneath the chaos of neglect. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. This is not just about gardens. It's about your life, your goals, your dreams. Rest is necessary. But rest too long and your progress withers. In this speech, you'll discover why rest has a price and why you must keep tending your life every day. Because the moment you stop working, the weeds of distraction, doubt, and complacency will take root. And only you can decide which grows in your garden. Your life is a garden. Now, that may sound simple, maybe even poetic, but let me tell you, it's also very real. Because just like a garden, your life needs attention. It needs watering. It needs pruning. It needs protection from what wants to take it over. And if you don't give it the care it deserves, the weeds will show up and they won't ask for permission. They don't wait for you to notice. They just grow. And by the time you wake up, your garden, your life, is overrun. If you rest too long, the weeds take the garden. And now let's slow down and think about that. What does a weed look like in real life? Well, it's that bad habit you told yourself you'd quit, but didn't. It's that negative voice in your head that you let speak too long. It's that wasted hour, wasted day, wasted week. It's not one big mistake. It's hundreds of small ones. Let unattended, they multiply. Because weeds never stay small. Let me ask you something. Have you ever planted anything? You can't just dig a hole, drop in a seed, and expect to come back a month later to a flourishing garden. It takes time. It takes work. It takes daily care. Now the weeds, they don't need any help. You leave the ground alone, and weeds will take it every time. Why? Because weeds are automatic. Success is not. You must plant it. You must water it. You must guard it. Success is predictable. It's not luck, and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline. Now let me give you the real danger. The garden doesn't get destroyed overnight. It gets ignored little by little. That's how the weeds take over, through neglect. You say, just one day off. And then one day becomes two, and two becomes a week. And before you know it, you've lost the very thing you once nurtured. That dream, that relationship, that health, that momentum. They wither in silence. Not because of disaster, but because of delay. You see, the laws of the garden are fair. They're the same for everyone. If you work the soil, you'll reap a harvest. If you ignore it, you'll reap regret. You don't have to plant weeds. They show up on their own. But you have to plant discipline. You have to plant intention. You have to plant action. And it's not enough to do it once. You've got to come back tomorrow and do it again and again. Success is doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. That's gardening. That's life. Now maybe you've looked at someone else's garden. It's green, it's flourishing, and you think, wow, must be nice. But what you didn't see, what you weren't there for, was the work, the early mornings, the consistency, the seasons they endured. Because every great garden has its seasons. There's planting, there's waiting, there's harvesting, and yes, sometimes there's loss. But the gardener doesn't quit because a storm came. He plants again, he learns. He adjusts. He continues. You've got to do the same with your life. Treat your day like a garden. What are you planting in your thoughts? What are you watering with your time? What are you nurturing with your energy? Because rest is good. Recovery is important. But rest too long and the weeds will take the garden. Don't let yourself get so busy relaxing that you forget to keep building. So today, before the sun sets, walk through your garden. Take a look around, and what's not, pull the weeds. Water the dreams. Protect your vision. Because if you don't, life has a default setting. And that setting is called decay. You've got to fight for growth. And that fight happens every day. Complacency, it's a quiet weed. It doesn't come with a loud warning. It doesn't break in the front door. It slips in silently. It whispers, "You're doing fine. Take it easy. You deserve a break." And now, don't get me wrong, we all need rest. But rest is not the same as retreat. You see, complacency doesn't show up when you're at the bottom. It often shows up right after a win, right after you've made progress. It tells you, that's enough. But enough is never enough when there's still room to grow. The danger is not in falling short. The danger is in settling for less than you're capable of. That's what complacency does. It convinces you to stop climbing, to stop improving, to stop tending the garden. And when that happens, the weeds grow. Let me name a few of those weeds for you. First, excuses. Excuses are one of the oldest and fastest growing weeds. They sound like this: "I'll do it tomorrow. I'm just not feeling it today. This isn't the right time." But the right time never comes for the man who listens to excuses. You can't hire someone else to do your push-ups for you. And no one else can fight complacency in your place. It has to be you, every day. Next, distractions. These are the weeds that look harmless at first. Entertainment, notifications, the scrolling, the binge watching, a little bit here, a little bit there. And suddenly a whole day's gone. You didn't mean to waste it. But distraction doesn't need your permission. It just needs your inattention. That's how weeds work. Another weed, comfort. Now that one's tricky, because it doesn't feel like a weed. It feels good, it feels warm, it feels safe. But comfort, when stretched too far, becomes a trap. You stop trying new things. You stop taking chances. You stop stretching your potential. Learn to be uncomfortable being comfortable. That's where growth begins. A well-tended garden needs challenge. It needs wind. It needs weather. It needs resistance to grow strong roots. If you only live in comfort, you build nothing that lasts. Now let's talk about a big one, doubt. Doubt grows fast in an untended mind. The moment you stop feeding yourself with belief, with vision, with purpose, a doubt creeps in. It says, "You're not good enough. You'll fail. Why even try?" And if you listen long enough, you stop planting altogether. You stop showing up. You stop believing. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever could. You see, every weed of complacency has one goal: to keep you where you are, to stop your forward motion, because motion means growth, and growth means risk, and risk means you're alive. But the weeds want you numb, passive, idle. So how do you protect yourself? You stay aware. You keep walking your garden every day. Ask yourself, where have I gotten too comfortable? What excuses am I telling myself? Where am I distracted? And what am I avoiding? Because once you identify the weeds, you can pull them. Discipline is the foundation upon which all success is built. Discipline is the gardener's tool. It's the daily habit. It's the choice to act even when you don't feel like it. And here's something else: weeds don't just grow in your habits. They grow in your thinking, limiting beliefs, negative thoughts, old stories you tell yourself. They're just mental weeds. And every time you think, "I can't," pull it out. Replace it with, "I will." Every time you say it's too late, replace it with, "It's just the beginning." Because the weeds only win when you stop pulling them. So don't rest too long. Don't wait until the garden is overrun. Catch the weeds early. Catch them daily. Your success depends on it. And here's the truth: you already know where the weeds are. That unfinished project. That phone call you've been avoiding. That early morning you keep sleeping through. The weeds are waiting for you to keep ignoring them. Don't let them win. Either you run the day or the day runs you. Choose to take the reins. Choose to tend your garden, because nothing beautiful grows by accident, and nothing valuable stays clean without care. So today, check for weeds. Then do what kings and queens do. Tend your life with intention. Delay has a cost, and the bill doesn't come right away. No, delay is sneaky. You put something off today and tomorrow seems just fine. You tell yourself you'll start next week, and nothing looks broken yet. You say one more day, and your world doesn't collapse. But here's the truth, the damage is happening silently. Like water wearing down stone, slow, steady, and invisible. And one day you'll look up and wonder where your momentum went. Failure is not a cataclysmic event. It doesn't happen all at once. It's a few errors in judgment repeated every day. That's what delay does. It doesn't yell. It whispers. It's not violent. It's patient. And that's what makes it dangerous. Because delay feels safe. You say, I'll start when I feel ready. But when does readiness come? Is it after the fear goes away? Is it when the timing is perfect? Let me give you the real answer. Never. Readiness is a myth. The right time is now. Because the weeds don't delay, they grow today. And while you wait to feel ready, they take root. Every goal you delay becomes a little harder to reach. Not because the goal changes, but because you change. Your belief starts to fade. Your energy starts to drop. Your mind fills with hesitation. And hesitation kills dreams. The time to act is when the idea is hot and the emotion is strong. Why? Because action strengthens belief, and delay weakens it. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had an idea so good it made your heart race? You felt alive, inspired, excited, and then you waited. One day passed, then two, then a week, and suddenly that fire was gone. Not because the idea was bad, but because you delayed. And delay waters doubt. Doubt kills motivation. Here's the cost of delay in real terms: that business you didn't start, that skill you never learned, that conversation you avoided, that book you never finished. They didn't disappear. They just drifted further out of reach. You lost time. And time is the most expensive currency. Because you can get more money. You can rebuild a career. You can start over with new knowledge. But you can't buy back time. We must all suffer one of two things: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline is the cost of action. But regret, that's the price of delay. And it's a heavier weight because it comes with a question: what if? What if you had acted? What if you had just started when it was hard? What if you had fought the urge to wait and planted something anyway? That's the real cost. You miss out on becoming the person you were meant to be. Because growth is only found in motion, not thinking, not wishing, not planning, doing. And let's be honest, sometimes delay is just fear in disguise. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. But let me tell you something: action destroys fear. Every step forward weakens the grip of doubt. Don't wait. The time will never be just right. So, don't wait for the sun to shine perfectly on your garden. Plant anyway. Don't wait for the weeds to leave. Pull them while they grow. Because the longer you wait, the stronger they get. Now you might be thinking, but I've already waited too long. Let me stop you there. That's another trick of delay, to convince you that it's already too late. But remember this: you're not behind. You're just beginning again. The only thing worse than waiting until now is waiting another day. Today is still yours. The future is unwritten. You get to decide how you spend it. So ask yourself, what small action can I take right now that breaks the cycle of delay? What seed can I plant today? Because once you start moving, momentum returns, belief returns, and the weeds start to disappear. So don't rest too long. Don't wait for permission. Don't let delay steal another moment of your future. Start. Now, even if it's small, because the cost of delay is the life you never get to live. And you, my friend, were meant to build something beautiful. Discipline, it sounds like a strong word, a heavy word. But I'll tell you something. Discipline is not a punishment. Discipline is a gift, because it is the small daily disciplines, quiet, consistent, barely visible to others, that keep the weeds out of your garden. You don't need to do dramatic things. You don't need to make giant leaps every single day. You just need to do the small things consistently. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. That's it. That's the secret. You don't need to change the world in a day. You just need to change your habits today. Let's go back to the garden. You water a little, you weed a little, you prune a little, every day. And what happens over time? It grows. It blossoms. Now let me ask you, what happens if you water a garden once a month? Or if you pull weeds only when they're already overgrown? You lose control. The weeds win. And life's the same way. Miss a day. That's all right. Miss two. Okay. But miss a week, miss a month, and suddenly you're back where you started. That's the price of inconsistency. But daily discipline. Oh, that's your alley. Let me tell you something personal. When I was broke, I didn't start by making $1 million. I started by changing one small habit, reading 10 pages of a good book, making one extra call, writing down a goal. Don't join an easy crowd. You won't grow. Go where the expectations and the demands to perform are high. A daily discipline creates pressure, but it also creates power, because each day you show up, each day you follow through, you strengthen your identity. You say to yourself, this is who I am now. Not the man who makes excuses, but the man who follows through. Now here's the key. The habits don't have to be big. In fact, smaller is better, because small is sustainable. And sustained action builds unstoppable momentum. Let me show you a few seeds you can plant each day. 10 minutes of reading, 5 minutes of silence, 1 note of gratitude, 1 healthy meal, a walk around the block, a single page of planning. Tiny things, but done daily, they protect your mindset. They push back the weeds. They keep your garden strong. Now, I know what some people say. Jim, I don't have time. Let me remind you, you don't find time, you make time. You make time for what matters. If your dreams matter, if your peace matters, if your purpose matters, then discipline must become non-negotiable. Because success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. The few who do are the envy of the many who only watch. There are people watching you. People who will either be inspired by your discipline or comforted by your lack of it. You choose what example you set. And here's the best part. Discipline compounds. The first few days, it feels small. The first few weeks, it feels hard. But think one day, you look around. Your garden is healthy. Your mindset is sharp. Your confidence is rising. And you didn't get there by luck. You got there by showing up. One day at a time. One choice at a time. Discipline is the fence that protects your progress. It keeps the good in and the bad out. It's not about being perfect. It's about being committed. Discipline says, I don't negotiate with my excuses. It says, I act according to my vision, not my feelings. So, what weeds are waiting to grow when you skip your routine? What dreams are dying slowly from a lack of attention? You already know. The question is, Feek, will you return to the garden today? Because discipline doesn't need to be dramatic. It just needs to be daily. The power is in the repetition. The strength is in the showing up. Even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Motivation gets you going. Discipline keeps you growing. So, water your garden today. Even if it's just one small thing. Even if no one sees it. Because in time, the results will be impossible to ignore. And remember, success is not built in one day. But it is built daily. There's something beautiful about a garden. Even when it's overrun with weeds, even when it's been left untended, even when it looks like all hope is lost, you can still bring it back to life. And that, my friend, is where the real power lies. Because it's never too late to take control. Never too late to start again. Never too late to say, this is my life, and I'm going to take care of it. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction. But that's what reclaiming your garden is all about. Changing direction. Taking ownership. Moving forward with purpose. You see, purpose gives you power. It wakes you up when you'd rather stay asleep. It fuels you when motivation fades. It gives your discipline meaning, because discipline without direction is just drudgery. But discipline fueled by purpose, that's energy, that's passion, that's growth. So how do you reclaim your garden? You start with honesty. Look around your life. Where have the weeds crept in? Where have you gotten lazy? Where have you let good intentions replace real action? Be honest. Not to shame yourself, but to free yourself, because until you take responsibility, you remain stuck, and nothing grows in a stuck life. Take responsibility for where you are. You cannot escape the consequences of neglect. But the good news, you can also enjoy the rewards of action. The very moment you decide to move, you've already begun to win. You don't have to fix everything today. You just have to start. Pull one weed, plant one seed, take one small step in the right direction. That's how you reclaim your life. Now here's what will happen. As you begin to clear the weeds, you'll uncover parts of yourself that were hidden, dreams you forgot, ideas you buried, strength you didn't know you had. That's what happens when the clutter goes. Clarity shows up. You begin to see who you were meant to be. You begin to remember why you started, and the fire returns. But be prepared, this journey requires courage. Because once you reclaim your garden, you'll have to protect it. Distractions will still come. Doubt will still knock. But now, you're not a passive observer of your life. You're a gardener, a visionary. And you understand something others don't too. That every moment is either building your dream or feeding the weeds. Either you run your day or your day runs you. So how do you move forward with purpose? First, reconnect with your vision. What do you want your life to look like? What kind of garden are you building? Not just for today, but for 5, 10, 20 years down the road. Second, define your daily disciplines. Not just tasks, but habits. The small things you'll do every single day that keep your garden healthy. Third, monitor your environment. What are you letting in? Who are you spending time with? What are you feeding your mind? Because your surroundings either nourish your growth or encourage your weeds. And fourth, reflect often. Walk through your life like a gardener walks his land. Check the soil. Notice what's thriving and what's withering. Ask yourself, what do I need to water today? What do I need to prune? What weeds do I need to pull before they grow deeper? This is how you stay in control. Not by perfection, but by awareness. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to stay present, stay purposeful, and keep showing up. When the promise is clear, the price is easy. That's the difference between those who succeed and those who stall. They know what they're fighting for. They know what their garden looks like when it blooms. They don't let laziness or fear or delay steal it from them. And now, neither will you. So, don't rest too long. Don't drift. Don't let weeds win by default. Stand up. Take back your time. Take back your focus. Because this garden, your garden, is worth it. And the best part, it's never too late to grow something beautiful. So remember, don't rest too long. Don't wait for the perfect time. The weeds don't need your permission. They grow when you stop paying attention. But you are the gardener. And with daily effort, with discipline, with purpose, you can build something extraordinary, a life of value, a life of meaning, a life you're proud of. Now get back to your garden and make it beautiful.